I had the impression that pages from my diary had been handed to the world without my permission. The experience reminds me of what it's like to be outed as gay before you're ready. You know how even now the majority of civil society has collectively decided ripping someone of the closet is part of today's cancel culture. Coming out should be a moment of self-awareness and authenticity, and so should sharing one's mental health journey. Being a part of the LGBTQ community can attest to the damage it inflicts on a person's life and mental health. Both are stories about identity, vulnerability, and truth, and they deserve to be told in our own words. I know sometimes when viewing someone from behind screens, people tend to see them as an object or brand with no rights or emotions. I am here to say someone's personal mental health status isn't to be toyed with. Keep in mind, behind that profile is a real human with real emotions. What happened to myself and my wife is not only immoral, but also illegal. So now I've decided to speak openly. Not because I wanted to, but because many have seen my information on paper and created their own narrative spin to it. I now deserve to have a day in explaining my own life story, as well as this experience has shown me how much ignorance and misinformation there still is in regards to certain mental illnesses. Yet I no longer have the right to remain silent and at least be able to explain what the experience does to the human psyche in an attempt to protect others' privacy and mental health struggles be theirs. If my story has already been taken and shared with the world, I will reclaim it and tell it in my own voice, with honesty, courage, and purpose. So the following is a scripted podcast to create a healthy space to explain that we all aren't the same when it comes to my most vulnerable status. Yes, my name is Chanele, and I am diagnosed with mental health illnesses, one being agoraphobia, and yes, I am a real person with real emotions and fears, like each of you reading and listening to this. To be completely transparent and authentic, my diagnosis is for multiple disabilities, but what I am discussing in this piece is bouts of agoraphobia, which I was diagnosed with at This also this prior to getting to informational education, but like Rachel Maddow, I will passionately make my point when I get there. Before you read my scripted AI-driven podcast, I will leave you with this: the perfect world, everyone would stay out of everyone's business and mind their own business. However, we know the world can be a very ugly and dismal place at times. We have one game of life so far. In my 46 years on this planet, I have been on a bumpy roller coaster ride. Here's to the next 46 years being in calmer waters. Signing off from Chanele, a real person, a passionate activist, a writer who informs while entertaining, a loving wife, a courteous neighbor, and a compassionate friend who also happens to be disabled. Do you see a world where that last part doesn't come with judgment and discrimination? If you do, inbox the DIY version. Scripted AI-driven podcast by Kai Love and creative creation of Love Books, etc. Digital copyright C dated by creation date of publication October 15th, 2025. Accommodations include attendance and meetings via video conference rather than in person, flexibility to work during off hours when offices are less populated, or a private workspace away from open plan offices. And critically, accommodations around privacy protections, exemption from certain surveillance measures, private workspaces, or the right to turn off cameras during virtual meetings aren't special privileges. They're necessary protections that allow people with agoraphobia to work without disability being actively advertised.